Hello, everybody, and welcome to Riftbound Ramblings. I'm your host, Barrett, and today I'm personally playing a little bit of catch up as I need to show you all the cards that have been revealed from 6/20, which is Friday of last week, as well as some other cards from the Thursday because they weren't on the reveal schedule, but they gave us some more cards on Thursday as well. So I got to play a little bit of catch up. I was gone this past weekend, and now on Sunday, time of recording, I'm going to be going over all the cards that I missed. So without further ado, let's dive in. Now, first off, this card is going to be from Covert Go Blue, who's given us reveals before. This was on Thursday, and this is the Chaos Yasuo Champion Unit. He costs 5 energy and 1 power to play for a 4 might Yasuo Ionia Champion Unit in the Chaos Domain, of course, and he has ganking, and he also says the third time I move in a turn, you score 1 point. I think this guy's kind of cool. I think this guy's honestly kind of cool. I don't think he's going to be like highly competitive or anything, but like he has the same feeling to me as the Calm Ahri Champion Unit just cuz like he's a little undermited for what he costs, but he has some cool synergies, right? We also got to see the alt art for this Yasuo who looks incredible. I think it looks very good. But the biggest thing synergistic wise, I thought there's not really a lot of things within Chaos that help you move this Yasuo around. I think he's going to have actually a little bit more success in decks like Misfortune, using the Misfortune Champion unit from the body domain, as well as cards like First Mate. Because as long as you can keep this guy from attacking, or keep this guy continuously moving to battlefields, he already has ganking, so you can find a way to move him around, and things like First Mate ready him, Misfortune Captain readies him. So I think this is going to be a better space for this card to exist, maybe at a higher level. But of course, you're going to be asking, Bear, what do I do with him in my Yasuo deck? Well, there's a couple of ways to make him work. Obviously, Yasuo the Legend himself, you can move the Yasuo to and from a battlefield, or to and from a base, your base. And then we have cards like Last Breath that can ready Yasuo, and then he pings a unit on an enemy battlefield to hopefully help you take over another battlefield. But he's only 4 might, so I wouldn't necessarily rely on that. But it does ready him, so he's still allowed to move. And then you have cards like Madden Marauder, which give you a free move if Yasuo is already on a battlefield. And you can either move him back if you want to keep him safe with Madden Marauder, because it doesn't have to be an enemy unit. It can be your own unit. And then if you have a way to ready Yasuo, or then you immediately use the Yasuo Legend Unforgiven to move him back to the battlefield he was originally at, that counts as 3 moves and you do score again. So I think he has potential, and we obviously haven't seen all the cards in the set. So like, but Chaos needs a little bit more help when it comes to directly moving units. But I like the Madame Marauder kind of synergies with it because he doesn't cost any power, and he has tank to keep the Yasuo alive if they kind of move together. But moving on and playing catch up once again with the cards from Friday, we have the Trifarian Glory Seeker. Now, this was given to us by Anna Margaret, who I luckily personally know, and she is a wonderful human being. And she gave us this 2 energy, 2 might Noxus Trifarian unit for the Order domain that says Legion. So if you've played it, not first of this turn, it says she says when you play me, buff me. And honestly, I think this is just generically good. She doesn't cost any power. She's great for when you want to be playing a Legion synergistic deck with things like Darius. And then also, she is just 2 might for 2 energy, which is the best you can kind of ask for. So, I can't really give anything but Challenger to her because she's going to feel fine to play in the beginning of the game to have a body on the board. And then she's also fine to play for buff synergistic decks. And then also, just as the 2-drop later on, that'll be 3 might. And then the other card we got from Anna Margaret is Mistfall, which is a 3 energy gear for the body domain. That says when you buff a friendly unit, you may pay 1 power and exhaust this to ready the friendly unit that you just buffed. And obviously this is cool because it's more synergies with the buff mechanic that is obviously within the body domain. And I like this a lot in Lee Sin, who I'm already on the fence on whether or not I think is going to be good or not. I think Lee Sin's obviously going to be too slow, And Mistfall is another card that I think is also too slow. But the cool thing is, Lee Sin says you can then ready any unit with Mistfall because of Lee Sin being able to buff any friendly unit, essentially. And then I obviously put the Calm Lee Sin Champion unit here because I think the cool thing you can do is they can have infinite number of buffs, and they buff themselves with their own exhaust ability. So you can exhaust Lee Sin, but give him a buff. And then when you buff him, Mistfall says you can exhaust the Mistfall, pay the power, and then ready the Lee Sin again to either then attack with the Lee Sin somewhere, or just play the exhaust ability again to give him another buff. So I think it's cool, but it costs so much power to keep using Mistfall over and over again. And as we all know, the body domain, even though they are good at ramping and channeling extra runes, you can overspend a lot of power costs and get very behind in this game. And I just think Mistfall is kind of like a bait. It's kind of like a trap. But I think it's cool. So gold rating from me because I think it can be fun. But moving on, we have the Body Domain Udyr Champion Unit. This was given to us by Emily Wang on Friday. And it said for 6 energy, 1 power, a 6 might Udyr Freljord Champion Unit that says spend my buff, so it has to have one already. Choose one that you've not chosen this turn out of these 4. Deal 2 damage to a unit at a battlefield. Stun a unit at a battlefield. Ready me or give me ganking this turn. And I think all 4 of these are pretty good in any given context. Obviously, the trick here, we got to get some buffs on Udyr. So here we go. Once again, I've got Lee Sin on the board. But I also want to then now go back and talk about a card that I wasn't very large on before, which is Arena Bar. Arena Bar is a 3 energy costing gear, kind of similar to what we just saw in Mistfall, that just says repeatedly you can exhaust the Arena Bar and buff an exhausted friendly unit, which is pretty good because if you already have the Arena Bar on the board from early on in the game, because it only costs 3 and it sticks around forever, when you eventually go to play Udyr on 6 energy, it is a 6 might body, which is very good. It comes in exhausted, obviously, which means it's a target for Arena Bar. You tap your Arena Bar, you give Udyr a buff, you can now immediately spend that buff that you give Udyr to do any of these effects. And obviously, I think the best one that could probably be here is the Ready Me. You can immediately have Udyr come in ready as long as you can give him a buff very quickly. Obviously, even the Lee Sin Legend can do so, but that costs an extra might, of course. But and then any point after that, the Arena Bar always has a pretty good target as soon as you start tapping Udyr, but whether that's attacking or for any other reason, of course. And I just think that means Udyr has the potential to be really good in the future because obviously the body domain is going to be very good at giving buffs out. The more ways we have to specifically keep putting buffs on Udyr, the better this card gets. So I gave him Grandmaster because I think he's going to be very good. It's just like a matter of how good is he going to be, but I think he's going to be pretty close to being at like a competitive level in some capacity. And then moving on, of course, I think this is the card that most people came here for this video, which is the Mind Domain Ahri Champion Unit. We finally got the second one, so Ahri fans rejoice because this one I think is pretty good. For 3 energy, 1 power, you get a 3 might Ahri Ionia Champion Unit that says when I attack or defend, give an enemy unit here -2 might this turn to a minimum of 1 might. And the real question we have here to discuss, aside from the fact that I think she's pretty good, is, of course, here's an alt art that they gave us. Not my favorite Ahri skin, but it does look very good. But the question we have to ask is, well, Barrett, is this better than the other champion unit that we have for Ahri under the Calm domain? And I think the answer is yeah. Like, I think the 5 energy for a 4 might body that is a win more effect because Ahri has to be holding on to a battlefield to get the extra point. I think this one to have access to on turn 2 of the game going first, this Ahri feels very good. The mind one, of course, because it double synergizes with the Ahri legend to give something potentially -3 might. That means this Ahri will be trading. That let's assume in a vacuum. This Ahri is at a battlefield by herself, and the opponent is attacking into it by itself. Obviously, they won't do this because you can see all these things ahead of time. But like, Ahri is allowed to hold on to domains or hold on to battlefields over 5 might costing units. Because most 5 might units are for 5 energy units are for 5 might. If they attack to where this Ahri is, you give that thing -2 might, going down to 3. And Ahri the legend says when an enemy unit attacks a battlefield you control, give it -1 might this turn. So it goes down to 2. That means they're never attacking you, and this 3 energy cost unit can beat 5 drops. I think this one's going to be challenger tier, and I don't even think it comes close. And I just think it's going to be a lot better for what the deck is trying to do, even though the Calm Domain Ahri Champion Unit is good. I think she's good. She just needs some help and is like very building around the deck. But this one, this Mind Ahri one, is the one I want to be putting in my champion zone at the beginning of the game, no matter what. But that's all the cards that have been shown to us this past week now that we've caught up. So I appreciate you all tuning in to me on a Sunday and getting things caught up, not just for me, but for you as well. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like. Comment down below if things you're excited to see more in Riftbound. And of course, subscribe so you always know when I bring up another video. But that means tomorrow's Monday, so there's going to be even more reveals, and I'm so excited to give them all to you and go over them. But for now, you guys have a great one, and we'll see you in the next one.